One. Go ahead, James. You were saying.
No, I'm just saying at the end of the day, the basic idea behind the field trip is not to go in to anyone's meeting and try and take over and dominate the conversation in any way, shape, or form. We have an opportunity to introduce ourselves quickly, let them know who we are, where we're from, what we do, and why we've decided to pay them a visit today. And the reason for that then is what we do is we set out the pros as to why we need to get together. Everybody knows that the opposite, that we need. Everyone knows we need to in these transformational conversations. So let's just make out the pros as to why we should come together and how theories as to how we can do that. But we don't have all. We have to be humble about that and say we don't have the answers. We can only figure this out together, all of us. That's just the basic idea we have, the basic suggestion we have, but we need, and that's why we're doing these field trips, quick field trips. We're not going to stay and take up your time too long. We just want to leave you with this thought, with this suggestion, and leave you with our contact details. If you want to get together, whether on your own platform or whether us on our platform, it doesn't matter. The main thing is that we do get together at some stage, to all of us at some stage, and to start spreading this or start sharing this with the other groups that you're involved with, so that we can all come together quicker. Like, we need to do this at an exponential rate at the end of the day. Like,
that's right. And just building off what you were saying a few minutes ago before we hit record is, why come together, all of us? And you said first to realize what this is, right? And this I would define as the existential crises, right? Let's, talk about them, because they're not really talked about very much. Certainly not as a whole, right? People will talk about AI, and that's really scary. Oh, goodness, nuclear war, no nukes, that's terrible. Oh, hunger, we got to deal with that. Oh, destruction of the biosphere, global warming, blah, 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 blah. But as a whole, the polycrisis, right? Talk about it and begin to make some sense around it. And then once we've talked about what this is, what the polycrisis is, then we can talk about what to do about it. Okay, now that we're looking at the monster and staring down its throat and looking at its, whatever you call that thing that hangs down behind the male throat, and breathing its breath. Okay, whoa. Now that we've grokked the polycrisis, okay, what do we do about it, right? And that's a whole gigantic question in and of itself. And then, I think then there's a lot of answers to what do we do about it. But one of them is, I'll just call it the exponential coming together. It's fine if a few groups come together, that's all great. But we need kind of an exponential coming together to face the exponentials of the polycrisis, right? In Mad Magazine, it used to be spy versus spy. This is exponential versus exponential, right? We need exponential solutions to face exponential problems, right? We're not going to solve the polycrisis by getting a Democrat in the White House instead of a Republican, right? No. We've got a Democrat in there now, and it's an even worse disaster than when we had the last Republican. So exponential coming together. Anything else? Passing the feather back.
well, like I said, like we should keep it simple, and we should keep our visits short so that we're not being overbearing in any way. Like, that's what I'm saying. So we just have to figure out, like, or not figure out, just list off the pros as to why we should do all this. Like, and why are we doing this, and have been doing this for the last 3 years. You know what I mean? So that's basically it in a nutshell. This is what we've been doing. We've been doing it 3 years. We've been making some great strides. We can tell them a little bit about what our history is as the Bloc Party and what we've achieved in the last couple of years. You know what I mean? What different tactics we explored, where we started off in our naivety, and where the lessons we've learned along the way through our mistakes, but through our perseverance and learning from our mistakes, we were able to make even more greater strides, which we have been now and everything else. But what we need to do now is share those successes as well with other groups to inspire them to do the same, but also to let them realize as well that they're not on their own and that they can not only do the same as we've been doing, but we can do even greater things together. Again, like everything comes down to leading by example. I always am a firm believer of leading by example. And we can't go in anywhere to any groups and try and overtake their conversations, sound as magnanimous as to say we have the solutions. We don't have the solutions. We have solutions as to how we can proceed as a group, as a global group. You know what I mean? And that's the only real answer we have as it is relating to all of the existential problems that are out there and all of the even micro problems, the existential problems are the macro, but what about all the micro, the problems that they right down to the community level, that people and personal level, that people are so consumed with, they haven't got time to look at the macro, the big problems. So coming together in groups like this and coming together in groups in an exponential form with these kind of, with these groups out there that are actually trying to do the right things, we can come together. We can help everyone can be helped. It's not just groups, it's individuals, groups, communities, right up to the global level. So yeah, we could just let them know what quickly, introduce ourselves, let them know what it is we've been doing for the last 3 years. Our mistakes we made, the lessons we learned from it, and the strides we're making now going forward. And that we just need to do this all together. And it's building, it's getting better. We're now, part of I suppose we could talk about that as well. Part of the fact that we're part of prophecy and that we're after connecting with the indigenous in Ireland and everything else and all that. So but we don't have to take up too much of the time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. And I just wanted to sketch a couple things here while we're on this roll.
Everybody got cut off there, or what happened?
No, can you hear me? I'm here.
No, I mean, like, people just disappeared there off the screen.
Oh, Lena was here and she just dropped off, it looks like. But that's all. The rest of us are here. All right. Here, let me just sketch a couple things because I'm really inspired right now, if I may. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, as we were talking about a week ago, there's kind of a dual foundation to reinventing, civilization, society, how we walk the earth. And the dual foundation per Chief Phil is we have the spiritual and the scientific. And the model we started building out last week was that on top of these two, we can build a political foundation, very different from the one we have today. On top of all of the above, the political, spiritual, and scientific, we build an economic foundation. And all of everything below, economic, political, spiritual, scientific, finally, all that will determine culture. Because what is culture at the end of the day? It's basically...
All right, bye guys. I'm heading out to the bus.
Love you, Marco. Safe
right, love
travels,
you
and
too.
we'll connect soon. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Safe travels, Marco. See you later, man. And bye, Ray.
Oh, hey, Shannon.
Shannon.
And feel free to come back, Shannon. We're just jamming here for a little bit longer. Not too much longer, just a little bit.
Okay.
Bye.
See you later.
Love, love, love. All right. So, culture is really the stories we tell each other and ourselves, about all the above. It's stories. And then based on all these stories, what actions do we take? In fact, one could argue that the action layer really sits at the top of all the others, and it's determined by culture, the stories, and everything else. Anyway, so we have this whole model here. What's interesting is we've spent a lot of our time in the past couple of years working precisely on the spiritual. Kindred spirits, right? It's not kindred bulldozers, it's kindred spirits. So we're working on the spiritual side. We've spent a ton of time on the scientific, tons of time, Marine Claw brightening and everything else. Political, we're just now getting into with, like, Inc. 23 in Austin, Texas, and all that. The economic, we've worked a lot on CCC and the Hungerless Games and things like that. And of course, a big part of the whole new culture that we see is precisely this network of conversations, network of networks, collective superintelligence. This is really part of the new culture. And it's also part of the new action that we say, hey, the action we need to take, we need to get into conversation. That is action. So anyway, I just wanted to give a brief little picture. If you have anything to say about this while I've got it up on the screen, go for it. Otherwise, I'll get off screen share. And passing the feather regardless.
No, I haven't got anything to say, but I get it. I got that last week when you were doing that. I mean, yeah, I get that. Like, yeah, I get that, and like, what I'm saying is, I understand where you're coming from with that now, right? But what I'm saying is, like, we go off now and do a field trip. I certainly wouldn't go to a field trip and then start throwing up that now on the board and try and explain something like that now to anyone. I would just tell them our story, just a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I
And
agree
then-
with you. Yeah, go ahead.
Johnny Appleseed style, as you said yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, our story. This is who we are. This is our story. It's just that for me, what I just shared on the screen in a way helps us create a framework.
Yeah.
No matter what part of our story we're telling, we at least internally know what our framework is.
Yeah.
You are here. Where are you in the shopping mall? You are here. So that's just kind of a map to show us wherever we are in the shopping mall, we know at least where we are. But when we tell our story, we just tell it in very simple human terms. Hi, I'm Jamin. I used to smoke a buttload of weed, and then I figured out blah, 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 and then I started doing this.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to pause recording. So after a brief pause, and with a nod to what I was just screen sharing, the bottom line of all this is and this is just our perspective. We want to hear your perspective, but our perspective is we are igniting and proposing revolutions spanning the cultural, economic, and political. So cultural revolution, economic revolution, political revolution with spiritual and scientific foundations. We need to get firmly grounded in the right spiritual and scientific foundations in order to have proper revolutions at the level of culture, economics, and politics.
Can I say something there, Jamin?
Please.
Now, this is just my honest opinion and my personal opinion, right? But
yeah,
every time you use the word revolution, to me, it has negative connotations where I come from. So it can be misconstrued as a negative connotation. It can be, your words can be misconstrued. They can be chopped and changed to make you say anything you want. No, they could do anything with fucking recorded stuff. Like what I'm saying is, Extinction Rebellion, they're on the fucking terrorist list because they're trying to do they're a rebellion, like, so the word rebellion enough to get them on a fucking list like that, like, because
Yeah.
they're rebelling against this society. So a revolution is another word that will only get people's hairs up, right? And what I'm saying is, from the very outset, when we wrote our narrative for Kindred Spirits, we made sure that we were not going to be pigeonholed, that
Yeah.
we're not going around pointing fingers, we're not going to say it's anyone's fault, you know what I mean? We're not
Yeah.
blah, blah. And I believe that we have to watch our language very carefully. So let's not use the word revolution, man. I'm just saying it has a negative connotation as much as it has a positive one. But let's use like transformation instead of it. Like,
I agree. I agree.
we need radical transformation of this, and this.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need to do. We need to transform ourselves individually. We need to transform society individually. We need to transform spiritually,
Yeah.
scientifically, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
Cannot be turned around then and said, yeah, you're trying to incite a revolution or a fucking, you know, the way things are so, like, America's a tinderbox already in people talking about civil war, and revolution can be tied in with that kind of shit talk, like.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So transfer, not revolution, not rebellion, but transformation. That's the key word.
I think it would be good to get into the habit of it anyway. I just think that revolution is a bad fucking.
Okay.
I know it has positive ones as well for what we're talking about, but it just can be misconstrued.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, and so now we can talk about this in purely positive terms. And I think we've got a really good complete picture of where we're coming from. So then we show up in the room and they say, hey, where are you coming from? Well, we say, well, you know, we're Kindred Spirits Ireland. We're also heavily involved in food healers and conversation, collective intelligence, blah, blah, blah. Work our way down the list. Triple C, you name it. You know, these are all the things we work on. And here's a concise picture to sum it all up. And we believe in radical transformation at all these levels, simultaneously and holistically. That's where we're coming from. Where are you coming from? And independent where you're coming from, where we're coming from, we're saying, hey, let's get together and let's bring all the different groups together to together sort out, you know, like we said several minutes ago on this recording, you know, what is the polycrisis? You know, let's figure that one out. What is it? And let's grok it. Let's grok its nature. It's existential. It's exponential, right? And then once we've grokked it, or as we grok it, then we can better and better figure out what there is to do about it. Do we need radical transformations across all levels of society and humanity? Or do we just need some little tweaks here and there? You know, what do we do about it? Right. I remember talking a few years ago with this guy. He's well known in the conversational realm. He gives plenty of presentations and leads conversations, and he's, you know, an important techie. I won't mention his name, but he's, when we were talking about, when I was talking about, you know, the search for solutions, he said, we have the solution. I said, really? What is it? He said, carbon tax. Great. Well, why didn't someone tell me that before? Right.
Yeah.
It's so simple, James. That's all we need. One second. I'm going to pause.